Welcome! Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the absolute giants of tech. We're going to deconstruct the engineering principles that power companies like Google, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft, the very frameworks they use to build software that billions of us, you and I, rely on every single day. Okay, let's just dive right in. The one question that all of these companies have to answer is this: how in the world do you build software that not only works today, but that's going to last for decades, all while scaling up to serve billions of people? The answer, as you'll see, isn't just about writing really clever code. It's about a total shift in how you think about building things. And that brings us to the first and maybe the most important distinction: the difference between just programming and true software engineering. Look, programming is about writing code to solve a problem right in front of you. But software engineering? The way Google's engineers put it, it's programming integrated over time. It's about managing this living, breathing thing, a code base that has to survive, adapt, and grow. It's about building something to last. So where does a process like that even begin? You'd think it would start with a technical document or a design spec, right? Wrong. At this scale, it all starts with something way more fundamental: the social architecture. Because let me tell you, when you've got thousands upon thousands of engineers, culture is not some fluffy perk. It is a core engineering requirement. Google actually breaks this down into 3 pillars: humility, trust, and respect. Humility is about being open to the idea that, you know what, maybe your code isn't perfect and it can be improved. Trust is what lets teams move incredibly fast without getting bogged down by micromanagement. And respect? That's what ensures critiques are about the code, not the person who wrote it. That's how you get psychological safety. And that culture of respect leads right into one of the most powerful ideas in all of modern engineering: blamelessness. The goal is never, ever to point a finger at someone. The core belief is that people don't fail, systems do. You can't fix a person, but you absolutely can, and you must, fix the systems and processes that support them. All right, so you've got the culture right. Now, how do you decide what to actually build? For this, we're going to turn to Amazon and its legendary working backwards process. It is a masterclass in making sure every ounce of engineering effort is just laser-focused on the customer from day one. The idea sounds simple, but it is so profound. Before you even think about writing a single line of code, you have to be able to describe the final finished customer experience with perfect clarity. The entire process, from that moment on, is all about hitting that target, not just checking off a list of features. And the main tool they use to do this is called the PR/FAQ. A team literally writes a press release for a product that doesn't even exist. Then they get all the key people in a room, and there are no PowerPoints allowed. Instead, everyone sits and silently reads the document for 15, maybe 20 minutes. Only then does the discussion start. It forces a really deep debate based on the written word, not some flashy presentation. The structure is genius. The press release forces you to answer the so what for the customer. I mean, if you can't even write a compelling headline or a quote from a happy imaginary user, is the idea even worth building? Then the FAQ makes you think through all the tough questions: pricing, how it works, and even the top 3 reasons the project is likely to fail. Now here's the kicker. Most of these documents never get approved. And you have to understand, that is a feature, not a bug. The whole process is a funnel. It's designed to kill off the weak ideas early so that you can protect your most precious resource, your engineer's time, for only the absolute best, most customer-obsessed projects. So let's say an idea makes it through that funnel. It gets the green light. Awesome. Now comes another huge decision. How are you going to structure the code? And this isn't just about organizing files and folders. No, this is the architectural blueprint that's going to determine how fast your team can move and how safely for years and years to come. And this is where we see a major philosophical split in the tech world. On one side, you've got the monorepo, which is favored by Google and Meta. That's one single gigantic repository for everything. On the other side is Amazon's approach, with thousands of smaller, independent micro-repositories. The trade-offs are huge. With a monorepo, one bad change can break things for everyone, a massive blast radius. But on the plus side, dependency management is way simpler. With microservices, failures are contained, but coordinating changes can get really, really complicated. And to make a monorepo work at Google's scale requires an absolutely staggering amount of money. We're talking over $100 million per year, just on the custom tools needed to manage that one repository. This is not off-the-shelf stuff. We're talking about hundreds of engineers whose entire job is to build and maintain these bespoke systems just to handle the millions of lines of code that change every single week. Okay, so you've got the culture, you've got the idea, you've got the architecture. Now, how do you ship the thing and actually keep it running for 1 billion users? Because as we all know, building it is only half the battle. This is where Google's game-changing idea of Site Reliability Engineering, or SRE, comes into play. The whole point of SRE is to treat operations like a software problem. The job of an SRE is to automate away all the manual, repetitive work, what they call toil, and to engineer systems that are just fundamentally more reliable from the ground up. The SRE mindset really starts with this almost radical acceptance of reality, which is, in a system this complex, failure isn't just a possibility, it is an absolute certainty. It's going to happen. So instead of trying to prevent every single failure, you focus on building systems that can handle it, respond gracefully, and, this is the important part, learn from it. And when that failure inevitably happens, a blameless postmortem is triggered. It's not an option, it's a mandatory part of the process. And the triggers are crystal clear. User-visible downtime, any data loss at all, or even just a situation where an engineer had to jump in and manually fix something. All of it kicks off the learning cycle. And that postmortem follows a very strict 4-step process. You start with collecting all the data, then you do a deep dive to find the root cause, and then you create concrete action items. But that last step might be the most important of all, sharing what you learned with everybody so the entire organization gets smarter and more resilient. You know, every failure is like a tuition payment for a very valuable education. And to manage this all at incredible speed, you see some really unique solutions. Get this. Meta can push code from a developer's computer into production in under 5 hours. It's insane. And to protect that lightning-fast pipeline, they have a global 24/7 volunteer team they call the Tree Huggers. They're the essential human backstop that makes sure, even with thousands of automated checks, there's always an experienced engineer making the final call. So after looking at all these massive, incredibly complex systems, what are the big lessons here? What are the things that any team, no matter the size, can actually start using? Well, it really boils down to a few core ideas. 1, culture is a deliberate strategy. It's not just a poster on the wall. 2, you always start with the customer. And 3, you have to treat every single failure like gold. It's a learning opportunity. The big takeaway is that elite engineering is about designing resilient systems, both social and technical. It's not about relying on individual heroes. It's about, as Microsoft puts it, paving paths to make doing the right thing the easy thing for everyone. At the end of the day, whether you're a tiny 2-person startup or a giant global company, these frameworks give you the discipline to build software that really lasts. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Which one of these giant ideas, a blameless postmortem, a simple PR/FAQ, maybe just a new focus on killing toil, which one could make the biggest difference for your team starting tomorrow?